on YouTube. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's trying to right now.
Yeah, it says it is.
Okay. So if that's working, okay. All right, let me hit record.
Hey, welcome back. Episode 51 of Process Preparation and Performance. JR, I'm not sure how this thing keeps going, but it keeps going. It just keeps rolling. More and more people. I mean, you're kind of beating guests away now. We kind of have an application. You got to be approved. You need multiple forms of identification, a credit score. I mean, there's so much stuff just to get on this podcast now, JR. It's incredible. It's
I,
incredible.
I don't know if we're turning guests away, but the application process sounds like a great idea. We could pre-screen people, set up our own HR department, and then just try to figure out what we're going to do. But I'm not going to let you off the hook here. You need to tell everybody what you just did, which is very impressive.
A little over a year ago, I had my hip replaced. I'm only 49. I'm not super old yet, kind of old. And my kids are all very athletic, and I've always enjoyed lifting weights. So I really got back into lifting weights, decided to go to some powerlifting meets, qualified for a national powerlifting meet. So I went to Las Vegas a week ago, competed in this national powerlifting meet. They separate you by age and weight and all that kind of stuff. So I did pretty well. I finished first in deadlift and second in bench in the nation at this meet. Um, could always do better, but I'm trying to keep my bones strong now that I already got an artificial hip, and you can only walk through one thing you can't go through the metal detector anymore at the airport. You gotta put your hands up and walk through that thing. So it was a good time. It was fun. My kids came out there. My wife was out there. It was out in Vegas, so that was interesting for my kids to see Vegas because there was certainly a lot of things that they don't need to see in Vegas that they had an opportunity to get exposed to, and we kind of let that go. But yeah, it was good. I appreciate you bringing it up. It was a good time.
So how much did you deadlift?
Um, you know, I don't really care about deadlift, so I just got like bench is really the only thing I care about because I don't squat yet. So I just walked out there and very easily picked up like 369 or 370 pounds and just I was like, all right, I'm good. Thank you. And they're like, all right, you easily have way more in you. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Thank you very much.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey,
So
and I'll tell you
it's
what,
okay.
something else I saw the other day after you'd sent me your post, I was messing around on Twitter. This was yesterday, and there was a big fireworks display that was supposed to happen out in San Diego. Y'all need to look this video up to where it was supposed to go on for 17 minutes. Well, some computer glitch set everything off at one time, and it looked like a tactical nuke went off. And so all these people that say that we need to turn stuff over to AI, you've absolutely lost your minds
Oh my goodness.
because there ain't no way. It's impressive. You ought to see it. It is one of the loudest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Everybody's like, greatest fireworks show ever. It's over in about 20 seconds, and 30,000 fireworks all went up at the same time. So this
Oh,
is
oh.
awesome. Good stuff. Good
Well,
stuff.
summer is here and fall practices, fall sports are about to start, but today's guest is he's a winter guy. He's an inside guy. It's been a while since we've been in this sport, JR. It's been a while. I'd have to think back, but you don't get somebody who's this decorated with wins and accomplishments very often. So tell people who we got, JR.
We got very lucky in that our guest, I think personally, is one of the best basketball coaches out there, not only just state of Missouri. And I got a chance to work with him for 3 years, and he's a great human being. He's just his accolades, like you were talking about. We're talking five Final Fours here, 17 years as a head coach at the high school level, 20 years in basketball total. We are honored to be joined by the one and only Josh Buffington tonight. So, Josh, welcome to the circus that is our podcast.
The circus. JR, you've never been part of a circus as long as I've known you.
Oh, yes, he
But
has. Yeah, yeah.
guys, I'm humbled. I've listened to your show and I appreciate you having me on and the night after the fourth and nothing better to do at 6 o'clock p.m. on a Friday night. So thanks again. I appreciate the intro seriously and looking forward to just rapping and flowing with you guys tonight.
Josh, your background behind you there, I think a lot of people will be interested in just because life after basketball at the moment for you. I don't think you're completely done coaching basketball. If I can get into a situation to where I can pick up the phone and give you a call and say, hey, what
Boy,
do you
hey,
think of
listen,
this?
I'm an open book, JR. You know it. You've known it for a long time. You all feel free to ask me whatever you want to ask. But go
So
ahead.
here's my question on your consulting stuff, though, because I'm interested in it. You and I talk a little bit about it around the office occasionally. For the layperson out there, when you walk into a business or you walk into a school or you walk into any entity that has hired your group, what do you usually find is like the biggest dysfunction with teams or with groups? And then how do you set them on a course that corrects that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And of course, we get asked that question again. Let me back up and start really. I'm with the Carden Group. The founder of the Carden Group is Chad Carden, who's one of my best friends of 25 years. And we've known each other forever through our wives. We met, it's a crazy story, really three generations. Our fathers know each other. Of course, they met through us, but then Chad and I, and then our kids, our boys are the same age. So it's really cool how it's really all evolved. My wife, Jamie, and Chad's wife, Sarah, went to high school together at Helias and grew up in parochial here in Jeff City. So it's a relationship with a lot of history. I started working with Chad actually back in 2017 when I was still coaching at Helias, late 2017, because I was at Helias from 08 to 18 as the head coach there, working in Midwest Block. Got out of Midwest Block and I loved what he did. I was always intrigued. And I told him back when I was about 22, 23 years old, this guy was trained by Zig Ziglar. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's definitely a mentor of mine in this business, and he's so experienced and so good at what he does. But I was intrigued, but I didn't know then all that goes into this business, right? It's a stereotype, I think, probably of many. They think we're public speakers and inspirational, motivational speakers and keynoting. And while that is a big piece of it, or a small piece of it, or a piece of it, there's many other things we do. And we try to get with clients and that have many, many leaders, thousands of leaders, and really try to center the needle with those clients in a couple of areas. One would be retention. It's an ongoing struggle, as you all know, for many reasons across the globe, no matter what the space. Two would be engagement, right? So not just checking the box saying I have to come to work, but I get to come to work. And then three is relationships and fulfillment, value and impact, realizing the value and impact you bring to the giant piece of the puzzle. And then, but first and foremost, realizing the value and impact, that everyone brings to that piece of the puzzle, because people just don't realize it, regardless of where they stand on the totem pole. And so that's the thing that really intrigued me the most, because I'm a relationships guy and I've always been about, the players and the people and just those types of things, very expressive, thinking, we can figure out the strategy part of it after we really get a strong base with our people. So that's kind of what we do, JR. And every client is different. And some spaces we go into right now, we're with corrections in the correction space, which is very unique. But it doesn't matter the state you're in. Maybe the culture is the same, but different climates as you get within it. So it's just it's an inevitable, it's an ongoing infinite game, and it's very exciting for me to be into right now.
Nice. So I'm gonna ask because I coach, but I'm not in the building. I'm not a teacher by day, right?
Right.
And I've given great deals of thought to this. I've presented at different places with it. But give us a top two or top three for things that you take from basketball and apply it to your business. Like
Yeah.
immediately they're in, not just because it's in your wheelhouse, but that it's 100% applicable.
Yeah, I think number one is it kind of goes, let me double click building relationships, because I think we can all say it's easy to be a relationship coach or a relationship CEO. We're doing a study right now. We're studying the top 67 CEOs across the globe to find their key, what are the common themes? What makes them a top CEO across the globe? And really it comes down to a couple things. Number one's relationships. And if you double click that, it's authentic, it's genuine. Obviously there are times when we have to withdraw from our people, right? There's accountability. There's times where we have to have those tough, difficult conversations, but can we deposit genuinely in the meantime, prior to that? So when we withdraw, we don't overdraft that relationship account. So we call it an ROI, a return on interaction. And again, there's always that time where, you have to draw the line and say, look, this isn't working. It's not kumbaya by any means. It never has been with me. JR knows that really well. But you definitely make every effort with your people. So that's number one. And then, but that's the same thing in coaching, Bill, is, it's just like we invest, try to get the most out of different kids or different coaches and administrators, whatever it is. And then hopefully we can find some common ground, which would be number two. So common ground is just finding that once we build that relationship with trust, respect, rapport, however we get there, is there some common ground that really brings us together on a unique level? Okay, not the tactical level, the strategic, the physical. You do all those things in coaching, and we have all those things in our curriculum when we're teaching and when we're speaking and when we're running conferences, leadership conferences. But really, what draws Bill and I, draws JR and I together to where we can build a relationship that takes it from change to transformation, because there's a big difference in that. So I would say number one, again, relationships and really building trust, respect, rapport genuinely. And then two, once we get that, how can we find that common theme between the two of us that kind of just takes us into a one-off that transforms? And I think that really applies to coaching. I've always said, X's and O's. I felt like I was always really competitive. I studied it. However, I really was trying to get into the hearts and just take our guys to heights they didn't really know they could get to.
That's kind of where I was going to go with this next one. Was think back day one when you walked into Helias as the head coach for the first time, or into Jeff City. It's kind of funny sidebar story. I had let Josh in the building the first time. But it was freezing cold out there, and we're trying to get Rod Smith, who was our previous guest, in there to interview him. And I didn't know Josh. He didn't know me. It's like two idiots standing around outside, in front of the security camera. But like day one walking into Helias, day one walking into Jeff City as the head coach, how do you believe you have to start building to where you can get a return quickly on that investment that you're making?
Yeah, it was, probably a little bit apples and oranges there. And just because of the timing of my career, walking into Helias, I had coached, I was competitive. We were competing with the team that I had prior to that. But I felt like I had so much to prove and so much to offer. So that was a very tough interview process. And when I interviewed for that job, they didn't have teaching spot with it. And I'm the son of an educator, two educators. My family's in education. I grew up public education. And so I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to do if I'm not teaching? So thankfully it worked out to where I could get a sales job and really have some flexibility there. But walking into that position, I felt like, I got to come in here and do something quick. And where it's the same is I want to meet the kids. Can I meet the kids tomorrow? So the minute you're hired, you meet the kids. I want to meet the coaches. Right? The minute you're hired, you meet the coaches, and we just build those relationships and we get to work. We start sweating and bleed together. Same thing, Jeff. Now the difference in Jeff City going there, there was a 3-year gap. I left Helias for many reasons, mostly family, some burnout, and just coaching's tough. You know it. You both know it. It's a tough business. It's getting tougher as the years go on with the era and everything else that surrounds it. But I missed it. I was hungry. I was ready to get back into it. COVID had hit. Just a lot of things had changed in my world as well, in our family's world. And so going in there, I felt, well, we've proven ourselves, our staffs and our teams, but so now I almost feel like we're expected to win immediately. And so what happens if that doesn't happen? So I wouldn't call it fear, but I was very motivated to every single job I ever coached in, and even when I played, to just give it everything I had. I mean, and if you get beat, you just get up the next morning to do it again. I think everybody's voted differently, but I think there's a difference in loving to win and hating to lose. And if you're losing at times, it drove me to no sleep, as you know, JR. So I think that's probably the similarities I can think of walking into both of those jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
I apologize for the lengthy answers. These are good.
These are great
these
answers.
are very good questions, guys. And I
No.
haven't talked about coaching in a long time, so I'm pretty excited.
It's good. I mean, I read a book recently called The Twin Thieves, and I thought it was very, very important. People usually limit themselves because of two fears, the fear of failure and the fear of judgment.
Yeah.
And when I was reading the book and going through it, of course, it was set to a sport tone and all that kind of stuff, but it really becomes true when you start to watch people and you start to see why they're making decisions. It comes down to a lot of times one of those two things that limits them. But you brought it up, so I'm going to lead into it. I'm going to give you a choice for your question. What rule would you change in high school basketball? Or I'm a young guy, I'm thinking about going into coaching, but I'm just not sure. What would you tell me? You can pick either one.
Yeah. I can pick either one of those questions or both. What do you want?
Your choice.
You let me know. So yeah, hey, back to the Twin Thieves. So I read quite a bit. I'm going to pick your brain on that later, maybe offline. Sound good?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Because I didn't feel. JR and I've had many of these conversations. Every single coach that I think the great coach that I know, and I'm not saying I'm that guy, that great coach, but we all have said at one point in time, like, it doesn't matter. I don't care what they think about me, right? When really we do care. Here's what I always told my team. Listen, it doesn't bother what people are saying about me right now. It bothers me, however, what people are saying about us, right? As a program, as a team. I'll fall on the sword for that. I'll wear that on our shoulder. So what can we do every day to make sure that our brand is being repped at the highest levels, regardless of the wins and losses? But again, back to rule change. I can answer the rule change quick, Bill, and then I can go to question two. But the rule change, I want the shot clock in high school basketball. Are we aligned at that? Is that kind of what
Illinois just added it.
What's that?
Illinois just added it.
Yeah, there's many states that have jumped on it. I know Arkansas is on it. Now, really, there's two rule changes I would like to change. But number one, shot clock. And I know it's tough at the lower levels, maybe the 1A, 2A schools, and I've coached at those levels. Whether it's finding people to work it, maybe the expense, and maybe they don't have the booster clubs, things of that nature. So I'd love them to just pilot it or test it, maybe at class 4, 5, or 5, 6, 4 through 6, whatever, because there are a lot of kids that move on to go play at the next level. I know it's not a great amount, 7% of high school basketball players or whatever, but definitely it's a different game. And we see that in club and the kids enjoy it. And I think it would be awesome to practice with it. I know some programs right now that have the shot clock installed but they're not using it in Missouri yet, but they practice with it. It's one step closer to preparing those that are capable of it, the recruitable kids at playing at the next level, because you have to get used to that. I remember going from high school to college basketball, and it was tough to get used to. But yeah, that would be that'd probably be the main rule change I'm looking at.
Fair enough. I thought so, but I just wanted to put it out there.
You thought that was it?
I thought that would be it. I watched.
I'm not big. Hold on. I love that question. I'm not big on when the free throw is shot either. I don't mind the new free throw situation with resetting at the end of each quarter. I think it puts a lot. That one didn't bother me at all because everybody's doing the same thing. The one that bothers me is remember when we had to wait till the ball hit the rim before we could hit it. That one bothered me because I thought that gave the advantage actually to the offensive rebounder. Because you're late getting in. So, but anyway, they changed the rules a lot. My big thing is everybody's playing by the same rules. So let's just get to know them as coaches and buy into them. I think the more that coaches think about all those things, it takes away from what we should be thinking in prep and in practice.
I think you hit on the key feature there because when I went down to a smaller school to do the volleyball draft last year. They were talking about the shot clock and just how just number one, buying the thing was going to cost a certain amount of money. And now you're going to have to pay another worker each night to run it. And, your solution, I think, makes sense to where pilot it with the schools who have the money to do it and just kind of see how it goes and then try to trickle it down to everybody else for, for sure. Excuse me. But, you were talking about all the conversations you and I had over the years. And the one thing I've learned from you is it's all about the brand. It's the brand, the brand, the brand.
Yeah.
And the better you can do with branding, either just your sport, your business, your school, the better off you're going to be because it becomes highly recognizable. And so if you would, for a few seconds, if you can go into kind of branding, how you can do it at not only a business level, but, within the coaching level, because I felt like the way your teams played, there was a certain brand to it. We're going to play hard. We're not going to stop. And we're going to keep going no matter what the score is. And that is a Josh Buffington team. That is the brand of that team.
Yeah, we talk about this in our business a lot, and but I've always been big on how you show up and how you show up. We know I'm not at my best. I'm not at my best as a dad if I'm showing up in the wrong space mentally, as a husband, definitely as a coach. It's just mentally, we all go through things off the court outside of the building, but when we show up in that locker room, and we have to be in a good spot in practice. So we talked about, and I was not always great at that. Ask any of my former players. I'd wear it on my sleeves a lot, and they knew it. But typically, that had to do with the competitive side of things, and where things were. But we were big on, and I think that's another thing. Back to your second question that I didn't answer, but if you're someone young getting in this business, you better have a marketing hat that you wear nowadays. You better be able to market your team. You better be halfway tech savvy. If you're not, you better have a coach that is. Every 7 seconds, you want someone seeing your brand. I mean, that's the old Coca-Cola slogan, the old Bud Light slogan. I don't want to get into politics of everything, but how can you get in? And you're not gonna be able to do that in high school sports, right? But how can you have that mindset? I want somebody seeing it every 7 seconds. And because if you can do that, you can't always control your brand. I've said this before, but you certainly can influence it. I can't control what someone thinks of me, but I can influence it by how we show up, by how we communicate our message, by how we handle stress, and by how we give and receive feedback. And those are the 4 things we really focused on with our team. If we can be solid at those 4 things, then our brand will be solid as long as we're putting it out there for people to grab onto. And it could be from a slogan, earn the sunrise on the back of your shirt, right? It could be JC Hoops showing up everywhere. It doesn't matter where you coach, but is it out there to where kids are seeing it and they want to know more about the things that you're doing. And then when they come watch it, that's when you really got to back it up. Whether you win or lose, there has to be something different about the way you act, the way you play. Not saying you can't make mistakes or screw up. I did that plenty of times, and our players did too. But there has to be something when you walk into a building or with a group or with a team or with an environment, like something's different. I want to see more of that. So that's just kind of what we try to do with those 4 things with branding.
So the last thing I've got here, before I'm good, and we'll take you to the speed round, or Bill's got another. I want to show you something.
Your speed rounds, hey buddy, your speed rounds scare me, man. Last time I did 94 feet with J.R. Simmons, you asked some crazy ones.
That was fun. I forgot all about that. It was you and I and Kay Foster. I forgot. We talked about aliens and all kinds of stuff. It was awesome. It was the best thing ever.
Look that one up.
So here, I'm going to share my screen. I want you to see this.
Okay.
So let me show you this here. So I found this. This is from 1998.
Hold on, share it again. I lost it. Did I lose it?
Can you see it? I don't know if you can or not.
Hang on a second.
I can see it, JR.
Okay. Can you try it again, Josh?
Well, let me get my screen back. Get my screen back to where it was.
I don't want to spoil anything, but it looks like a game card.
All right, I can't see it. Go ahead. I don't know what happened to my screen
Here,
here.
let's do this. I'll hit stop share and then I'll share again and see if it'll come back up for you.
But yeah, let me, for some reason, okay, now try it again.
Okay. You got it?
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay, so
Where
this is
was this? Oh, Hannibal LaGrange against University of Missouri Rolla.
so this is 1998, and the
Yeah.
top name there for Hannibal LaGrange visitors is number 22, Josh Buffington, who went 2 of 6.
Yeah, I didn't have a very good game. I'm looking at these stats. I was 40% from three, though.
Yeah, and it looks like y'all ended up losing that one, but that's okay.
They were good that year. They had Doug Call, I believe, on that team.
Yep, he's down there.
Doug Call played at Jeff City. He had a good game. I played with an All-American that year, Robert Joseph. He actually ended up breaking David Robinson's shot block record in college basketball.
Wow.
But next time yeah, so we were in NAI school playing a D2 school at their place, and they were solid that year. But next time you pull up stat sheets, make sure you pull up a better one, because I had some that were better than that.
You know, it was funny when I was looking.
My son's watching that. If both of my sons are watching tonight, you know them, man. I'm going to hear about that. I'm going to hear about that when I get home.
I searched and searched and searched for something, and that was the only one that I could find. And when I pulled it up, I'm like, oh boy, 6 points, 25 minutes. Like he's not gonna definitely appreciate that.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
But hey, the last one I've got.
It's all about how you bounce back, right?
I got lucky because I could see you prepare for games, you know, to where if I'd walk along the bench, I could see your call sheet and none of it made any sense to me, but you had a million different options there. And it seemed like you had an answer for everything. And I think, Coach Roderick, when he was on here from Webb City, he talked about, even though you may get classified as, say, a basketball guy or a football guy or a baseball guy, you understand sports. And so I think the preparation for anything is very, very similar, depending on what even you coach and how it transcends over into other, sports. What do you think for you gave you the edge going into games? Because everybody prepares, but what made you and Darius and your guys different?
Yeah, basketball is unique, and I agree with what Coach said. I've always said, and again, I'm not putting myself in this category, but if you can coach, you can coach, right? So how can you become a coach? And I wanted to become that coach that, yes, basketball was my sport. I grew up son of a 32-year basketball coach, played it all the way through college. And it was a passion of mine. It was a love of mine. But was I a good enough coach to where if a soccer staff said, Josh, we need you to come on staff and help, and I knew nothing about it, could I figure it out? What was my niche going in? So I would believe, I was just I coached our guys very tough. I mean, very tough but you have to know when, okay, it's time to let off the gas a little bit. You've got to know when you can push them. You got to know who you can push a little bit more. You got to know how to push who. And you can't do that unless you build some serious, genuine relationships on and off the court. And so, but I wanted my guys, and I worked with some great coaches, right? Great coaching staffs, and we were best friends. The best coaching staffs that I worked with, we were friends. We were best friends. Our families were friends. We did a lot together, and that was intentional, and we had to build those things up. But I wanted selfishly, like, we're not selfish as coaches, right? But we do things for selfish reasons, I believe, to protect our passion, to protect our family, to protect our locker room, non-negotiables. Like, if those things are affected, time to go, right? But I wanted our players to run through a brick wall for me. And I learned that from a coach a long time ago. It's cool. I want them to run through the same brick wall for the assistant coach as well. But if they're not running through the brick wall for the head coach first, it's just not going to work. So everything we did was competitive and intense in practice. And I got away from the 5-on-0 stuff a long time ago and repping plays. We still did some of that, but we did it with defense on us. So we're working both sides of the ball, and everything was competitive. I mean, there were no whistles. I mean, you're diving on the ball until the whistle blows. You're going. And I had a play sheet of many different options and counters and plays. But I late in my career, I think when we really started having success offensively, you just got to let your guys go. You know, how can you teach them how to play rather than teach them plays? And just really let them flow and just teach them roles and teach them angles and teach them concepts more than to be robots. And our guys weren't robots. Instinctively, I think, you know, we just repped it so much in practice that the game became slower, you know, when 7:30 p.m. came.
Makes sense to me. I mean,
Well, I mean, but again, like, you know, you all know how it is. I mean, you all saw many of my teams, and where we had bad nights. You know, you go out and sometimes you just don't have it. You don't have it as a player. You don't have it as a coach. You feel like, you know, they did it to me tonight. What can we do the next day? And I had years, you know, I think sometimes the best years in coaching you have are maybe losing seasons or years you struggle because it just makes you better in the long run. But I mean, everything I can promise you wasn't sunshine and rainbows. And probably the toughest years in coaching were, you know, those years where the expectations really high on you and you go pretty deep. It's a lot of sleepless nights, and especially when you have, and we always had good players. You have to have good players. You have to have some talented kids. You can't, you know, the days of someone saying, well, you know, Coach K could take those 5 guys right there in Final Four. Well, you have to have some talent. You have to have some. I'm not saying you have to have 5 All-Staters, but you have to have some guys that can go a little bit, and then you have to just figure out how to get those guys in the right spots, but still be a team where the ball is shared and we're playing for each other every single day.
Yeah, I agree. When I went and interviewed at Tipton, interestingly enough, I had the first 100-day check sheet. This is what I'm going to do during my first 100 days, right?
That's impressive to have that prepped.
You know, had it ready. A good friend was like, "Hey, Bill, I think this would be a good idea for you. You know, you have these thoughts, put it down." So I put it down. And one of the things on that first 100 days was improve brand awareness.
Yeah.
That was one of the check boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I sat down to meet with the youth coaches, and one of them was like, "What does this mean?" I said, "Well, here, let me put it simply for you. When I interviewed here and I walked through the hallways, I didn't see a lot of little boys and girls wearing a shirt that said Tipton. Like, I didn't see that happening. But I can tell you, I've been in other schools where you walk down the hall and there's so much of their school color that you're like, is this a cult? What, like, do you hand these out every day when the kids get here? Do they just put this on? Is this their uniform?"
Yeah.
I said, so, you know, there needs to be, you open up that drawer for your shirts and you're like, this is what I'm wearing today. Because your entire drawer is that. I go, so that's brand awareness. I said, when we get to that level, you'll know that your school is back on the map. That's how you'll know, right?
100%. I mean, that's a huge part of it. Yeah, we have to bleed it. You know, it doesn't matter if you're there 6 months, 1 year, as a coach anyway, 3 years or 30 years. You have to bleed it. You have to fly the flag and own it.
Yep. Sure. JR, here we go. Speed round.
Well, let's do it.
Hold on. So we're coming out for landing. This is towards the end, JR?
Yeah. So we'll go speed round here. And if you can get through all these questions without passing, you get an opportunity. You can ask Bill a question, me a question, or both of us a question. And then we'll move on to the last little bit of it here. So now, Bill, I gotta warn you, I have a prop for my first speed round question. So I had to pull it out of the drawer here. I got it in my hand.
All right.
Just can't see it on camera yet. So
okay. All right. Speed round question number 1. Pizza or hamburger? What are you eating? What if you go and you can pick whatever you want? The restaurant is the best of both. We're not getting into all these variables. It's the best of both. You're like, no, that's what I'm taking. Is it pizza or is it a cheeseburger?
It's a burger.
So when I see you,
you need me to elaborate on that?
No, you're good.
I'm a burger guy. What's up?
When I see you next, can you sign my shirt? Is that okay?
You bet. Yes, sir, I will. I would love to.
You walk into the gas station and you're like, I gotta get some candy. I need some candy. Now, I know you're a fit guy and all that stuff. I get it. But there's sometimes all of us like to eat some candy, man.
Oh,
What is it that you're picking up that you're like, the rest of this is trash and this is the king of all candies?
I'm getting a fast break candy bar and a Mountain Dew, buddy,
Oh, wow.
every single time.
All right.
And I have anxiety over that, or I wake up, I feel bad after I eat it, but I feel great while I'm eating it.
Funniest kid you've ever coached.
Funniest kid I've ever coached. Ooh, that's tough. Woo. Recently or like throughout the years?
Whatever you want.
Jed Johnson. I would say Jed Johnson. So I was 3 years, I was an assistant. Oh my gosh, this guy was hilarious. But 3 years I was an assistant at Missouri Baptist University at the collegiate level in St. Louis. And of course, I'm young at that time. I'm 20, 24, 25 years old. I was a head coach my first year out of high school, out of college. And then the next year I went and thought I was going to chase, the college world. And this guy was only about my age, right? He was a transfer, played JUCO. He's one of my best friends to this day. But it was pure comedy. And he was a heck of a player, heck of a competitor, but one funny dude. He's probably not listening because he probably still doesn't know how to turn a computer on, but yeah.
What song is on your playlist that you just don't really want people to know about?
I would say that I just don't want people to know about.
But you're turning it up. If it comes on, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. This is a good one.
It's definitely Boys to Men. I'll make love to you. I can sing it right now, but we probably better not do that. But I love. Hey, I'm a '90s boy. I love Boys to Men. I only turn that on when my wife's in the car with me.
You got to pick Ross or Rowan.
Oh, as a human being, or
whatever you want. We'll just.
Oh, they're just, man. I love those two dudes. I'd do anything for them. My family trumps everything, and it wasn't easy. I can promise you the last couple of years, but I think I can't do that. Can't do that. I think they both bring different skill sets to the table as a human being, as a kid, as a person, as a Christian kid. They've got a lot of great morals, and they're learning life, and even as an athlete. But I can't imagine having one without the other. There's peas and carrots. They're really, or Lloyd and Harry, whatever you want to say.
Nice.
Yeah.
Vacation
I have a
spot.
daughter too, by the way.
Well,
So
I was hoping you might go. I'll just
my answer should have been Julia.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, my
Probably.
seventh grade daughter. No, but
Probably.
no, I love all my kids. We're just trying to get through life. It's a tough life as a dad and a mom, and it's just tough for these kids growing up right now. I can't imagine. Thank God I didn't have to grow up in this era.
Yeah. My last one, vacation spot. It's paid for. You don't have to worry about it. Where are you going?
Costa Rica. Costa Rica, you got a little bit of everything there. Rainforest, one side, hit the trails, walking trails, get up on the mountains a little bit. You got the coast on one side. And by the way, that's where I'm going in August. And I can't wait. I've been wanting to go there forever.
Bill, let me tell you, how he stays
I love the beach though, Bill. What?
On a plane for that long. How you can stay still on a plane for that long just baffles me.
What, to Costa?
Yeah, because you're high, you're always moving around, high energy, and I'd love to be on the plane to observe it. It would be fun.
I'll take some melatonin with me.
Yeah, just go to sleep.
Right.
Okay, here's my last one, and this has become kind of a thing on the podcast. So you got to pull off a museum heist, and you can take 3 people with you. So who are you taking with you, and why are you taking them with you?
I got to pull off a museum heist.
Yep.
And I got to take 3 with me. All right, so I got to take my ride or dies, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm going to take Chad Carden, all right, with the Carden group, just because we've had so many experiences. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I got to roll. I got to roll with them. I'm going to take my boy Twos with me. All right, Twos is Chad's more expressive like me. Twos is also very expressive, mainly because we're going to have a lot of fun. But Tuesley has an analytical side to him. He'll think more out the details, right? So you got to. I'm the expressive. I just need them to tell me what to do. Chad's kind of aligned with me, and he'll be like, Buff, listen. He'll keep me in line a bit. Daniel will have the details, and then lastly, that third. Let's see, who am I going to take for my third one? This is tough, Jr. This is tough. Can it be a celebrity?
You take who you want.
Yeah, I'm going to take David Goggins. That's my boy. Love me some David Goggins. So I wouldn't mess with him right now, but he's really thought out and prepared. He'll have us in and out of there before anybody can see us.
There you go. Well, you didn't pass. So by rule, if you would like to ask any question, you're welcome to ask the question. It's totally up to you.
Ask a hot seat question to you all. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So how do you pass that thing?
How do you what?
You said I didn't pass.
No, you didn't pass on a
a
question.
You didn't
Yeah.
pass on a question.
Oh, I didn't even know that was an option. Okay.
Unwritten rule.
I thought I just flunked another test. Let's see. I can ask either one of you.
Or both.
Yeah, honestly, guys, a genuine and authentic question. I just real quick question. I'd love to know, JR, how are you excited about your new opportunity and position? That would be my question for you, and where you at, because it's been a while since we touched base. And Bill, I know you've coached, and what's your plan in the future? What's your 3 to 5 year plan, and as far as education and coaching goes for you? And that would be my question, really, just kind of your vision for the next 3 to 5 years, both of you in the sports coaching mentorship world.
Yeah.
Bill, you want to go first, or
No,
you want me to
ahead.
go?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's challenging. It's different than what I'm used to, because I'm doing a lot more stuff with what I am not well versed in right now, which is more the facilities side of things. So it's created really an environment, I think, where I've had to start learning all over again, which it reminds me a lot of when I walked into the AD office about 4 years ago in Jeff City, where you have certain preconceived notions, but until you really get in there and you experience it and you start figuring it out, you really have no idea. Luckily up here, I've got some great people that work for me with the maintenance and the custodial staff, and that's helped out a ton. But as far as learning things that I've never learned before, I think it's good, just because I'm not going to be bored, and I'm going to have to, get into the weeds a little bit before I can actually look up and out and kind of set a little more of a direction for the whole facilities group. I mean, 3 to 5 years. I mean, my heart is always going to be with athletics. It's always going to be in, and you and I have talked, getting an AD job and try to set the tone for an entire group of coaches and activities directors and see where we can take it. I think a lot of the experiences I've had, I've got a lot to offer with it. Just got to find the right situation and then get the right people in there that I think need to be coaching, and support those that are already there and try to go from there. But luckily, I guess for all of us, we're all getting kind of close to the end. It's more the beginning of the end than the end of the beginning, so I'm getting close to the end, and that's exciting in a way, because I can guarantee you I can definitely find something to do every day.
Yeah.
So I definitely do not want to work forever, but it's been good. People up here are great. I'm really enjoying it, and that's kind of where I'm at.
That's awesome. You're going to kill it, man. And I'm just happy that you're getting out of that comfort zone and you landing on your feet. You'll do great. And I think the sky's the limit for you.
I appreciate it.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Coach
He'll do
Duke.
perfect. He'll do perfectly fine. Yeah. He'll be okay anywhere he's at in any scenario.
I think so too, man.
It really
100%.
doesn't matter.
Oh, so.
In 3 to 5 years, my youngest will still be in college. I just enjoy watching them grow and learn in life.
Yeah.
I played high school football. I played college football. I love coaching football. I love being I enjoy being with youth oftentimes more than I enjoy being with adults.
Yeah.
And we just had this discussion with a bunch of people around the area the other day, and I prefaced it with, I don't want to offend any of you adults in this room, but there's many times that your kids act less selfish than you do. And everybody says, well, the kids are different, the kids are different, the kids are different. Man, I don't know if the kids are different. I think they have access to more. I think they have more opportunities because of everybody's connected, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's the message they're getting from everybody else, like that's below you. You don't have to do it. You don't have to work for that. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. Sweetheart, if you don't feel comfortable, you just tell them you're not practicing today. You're not going to work. You need a day off. Like, okay, hold on, time out. Time out for a second, right? So for me, the next 3 to 5 years, man, coaching football, treating feet, enjoying my family, and just being thankful for what God has given me, to be honest with you.
Amen. Amen.
I mean,
Yeah, that's an awesome answer. From both of you. And I appreciate that, man. You guys are nailing it. You're doing great things. Yeah, I'd love to tag on to the selfish kind. It's just a very selfish world. And it's a big pet peeve of mine. I know it is of everyone's too, but I think you're right. I mean, it's self-awareness too. Like, it's just like we're looking in a mirror too much more rather than looking through the windshield. And it's all about God, family, and just continuing to stretch myself. And I appreciate you all allowing me to come on and just rap with you. This has been a lot of fun. So thanks for both of your answers. Great answers. Wish you both the best of luck.
So Josh and I were at the point, you've been on the hot seat here for about 46 minutes,
I've been on the
answering
hot
our
seat my whole
questions.
life, bro.
And, so you've been with us here. So you get an opportunity now to tag our next guest. Bill says that tag is the oldest game ever invented. And since you've been here, you are actually the first basketball coach we have had on the podcast. And so we're interested to see who you're going to tag here for our next.
Thinking out loud. I believe I'm going to tag. We're going to stay with basketball. You guys good with that? Was I the first basketball coach you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this guy would give you some really good. I think he'd be fun. I'm going to tag again if he can work a computer, if you can get him out of the turkey barn. But we're gonna go ahead and tag Ryan Robertson from Fatima High School. Ryan, it's really been a cool fraternity. Myself, Joe Rothweiler at Helias, who I coached I coached him when he was in college, played for me in college. Ryan Fick, Blair Oaks, Andy Jansen, Southern Boone. A lot of us guys came into this business about the same time. So it's really cool, the fraternity that we've all built. We all stay very connected. We always have. But I'm tagging Ryan Robertson. You'll get a kick out of that one if you get him on.
Fantastic.
Sounds good to me. JR, look, little bit about me, JR. How old was I? I don't. In sixth grade, I weighed like 200 pounds. I was like a rock on toothpicks. I was like, I think I want to play some basketball. You know where they stick the 200-pound sixth graders?
Right on the block.
They stick as well. For me, it was like, how you look, can you go way out there past the line and just see what you could do? Like, because I wasn't doing anything, right? So I quickly learned that basketball was not something I was going to excel at in life. But eventually, you hit puberty, you grow a little bit, you change a little bit. I applaud all these guys that are coaching basketball. I know zero, coach. I'm going to tell you, there's this numbering system you guys have now, 1 through 5. I don't even know what the hell that means. I have no idea. I'm like, well, I thought there were guards and forwards and centers, but now there's a 2 and a 4. I have no idea. I think what you guys do are incredible. JR and I always like to say we played basketball and football. This was just fast break. Man, we were fast break. Let's go. So I I think you've represented the basketball community very, very well for the first basketball person on the show. I don't, I don't know, JR. I think it's been pretty solid here.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew if we could get Josh on and get him talking basketball, like I said in the intro, I don't think he's done yet. He can't be done yet with coaching. And so one of these days, I'm going to get you back in it one way or the other, man. You're going to get that phone call. So
It's a fun game, man. It's been a big part of my life. I love it. Love everything about it. And but you're right. And again, you put me in on football field, it'll be the same way, coach. It's I hear X, Y's, F's, and spread and all these different things. But again, coaches are coaches, and you just have to stay connected and adapt to the game because the terminologies is like the speed of light. I mean, it changes nonstop, the highest of levels. And but every resource is right at our fingertips, as you know.
Yeah.
So how can we use these things, like you said, to our advantage in our careers and with our families and with our faith and, which touching ourselves as leaders, because it's all about leadership and turning our players into those leaders as well. Not leadership by title, but just leading from within. So
Absolutely.
you guys have been tremendous. Thank you.
It's been great for process, preparation, and performance. I'm Duke. He's Simmons. Coach Buff has been here for the basketball community and world. God bless, people. Thank you very much.